Okay, we will start the meeting for the Town of Lake Clark Shores Code Enforcement Board hearing. 6:31 according to the clock. Emily, could you please call roll?
Chair Paul Hughes,
Present.
Vice Chair Gerard Sanchez,
Present.
Board Member Deb Moody,
Present.
Board Member Wesley Cook,
Here.
Board Member Patricia Keough,
Present.
Board Member Morty Meltz, Board Member Jonathan Thayer.
Here.
Okay, if we could please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes of our last meeting and cases currently now in compliance. Eric, can you bring us up to date on the cases we have tonight?
Sure. Starting on page 2. Case 2026-59 is now in full compliance. Case 2026-60 is in full compliance. 2026-61 is in compliance. 2026-62 is in compliance. Moving over to page 3. 2026-63 is in full compliance. 2026-64 is in compliance. 2026-65 is in compliance. 2026-66 is in compliance. 2026-67 is in compliance. 2026-68 is in compliance. Moving over to page 4. 2026-75 is in compliance. And 2026-77 is in compliance. We had a excellent compliance rate this month.
Wow.
I suppose if you warned us, Emily, we still wouldn't show up or something, huh?
Well, we're supposed to hear the Harvey case, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
And they're not here tonight.
doesn't seem like it.
Well, we would have had plenty of time for them.
So, well, thanks for that, Eric.
You're welcome.
Well, that's good. Yeah, things are getting done.
Can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move. I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is disclosure of visits. I'm not sure we'll have to do that tonight, but swearing in of witnesses. I guess you all could stand and be sworn in by Bill.
I can do that. I don't know if we have any cases, do we?
Well, if we talk about,
Rory Properties.
Oh, okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
thank you. Eric, any update that you know of? And
Yeah,
Alright.
I have actually
That
brought
is
you
good.
some photos tonight, so I want you guys to see an update. Don't expect it to be night and day difference, but you will see some subtle differences. Starting with the first picture.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the driveway, if you remember, which is still in full disrepair, they've removed all the junk and debris, so you can see what is or was a driveway. They've cleaned up a lot of the debris from the front. However, there's still a lot of debris on the side, but they are working on the inside of the home. By the time I got there and took the photos, they weren't working. I would have loved to have been able to show a little activity going on. You can see. So that's the front fascia that was completely destroyed. So they're in the process of repairing some of the stuff on the outside. The inside is definitely being gutted, because when you look at the next photo, you'll see a lot of stuff that's been pulled out on the right side where the garage is. You can see that's all stuff that was removed from the inside of the home. I'm not sure.
Is that paper job being done or, I mean, is this kind of like owner doing everything or?
No.
No. That's a permit. Okay, that's what I,
In the first photo, it looked like off to the right-hand side, the meter can on a pole.
Yeah, so,
Is that what that is?
yeah, so I spoke with the neighbor to the right,
Oh,
and FPL is actually putting in a brand new meter that they've already got, well, they're starting to get power to the lines because the Barbie property hasn't had power in, I'm going to take a guess, 10, 15, I don't know how many years, but a long time. So now that work's being done, FPL is re-energizing that pole. And according to the neighbor, they're putting the new meter on his property.
on
The neighbor
Brown's
to the
property?
right, the property to the right, the old meter was on the Barbie property. The new meter is going to be moved to the neighbor's property.
Why would that be?
I don't know. That's what FPL told the owner.
they probably two, because I have two. I have my meter and there's my neighbor and I. There's two meters
Oh.
in it. So it's right at the, probably right at the
Probably
property
at the
line.
property line.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's 2 meters on that
Are
one.
those permits on the left side of the garage door? Can you zoom in on that,
Yeah,
Emily?
it looks like it was permit.
There's one on the door, but I go to the left, up, yeah. I can't tell what they are, but those might be
I can
permits
see
also.
something to the left.
I'm just curious, did they give us, well, they were supposed to be here to give us an estimated time on,
They agreed to be here every meeting until it was done.
An update, Emily?
Yeah, sure.
Have they applied for additional permits? That's what you're asking.
So for the plumbing sub permit, it was submitted March 3rd. And then for the electrical sub, they submitted that this Monday, March 23rd. And then for the remodel permit, the status is the same. No fees have been paid yet. And that's since last month, the 25th. It's
So
been
are they
like that.
able to do all this interior demolition without a permit?
They have their demo permit. The one that they have not made any movement on is the remodel permit. Mm-hmm.
And are they? I know the answer to this, but they shouldn't have that pile of construction debris there.
No, they've been bringing in a dump truck. At least I've seen over the last couple of weeks. There's been on 3 occasions I've seen they brought in their own, well, whether their own personal dump truck or they've hired a company, and they've loaded a lot in there because they were initially asking about putting a dumpster on the property, but based on the amount of work and stuff that has to be removed as of right now, it's better for them to just use a mobile truck. And I've seen that it was filled to the brim all 3 times. The entire inside of the house must have just been completely filled to the top.
so they're still taking stuff out. Or is
Oh,
this-
yeah,
Is this today's, is this today?
Yes, this was taken just a little over an hour and 40 minutes ago.
I'm just curious, and I'm not here, but that was just taken. I mean, do you know how long that pile's been, or is that a new pile?
That's a new pile, but it's been accumulating over the last week. However, they do have the demo permit. They're putting it on the side of the property. So, and because the dump truck is coming and picking up, they're doing all the right things. I mean, if the pile grows for more than a week, then they can be cited. But again, like I said, I've seen the dump truck come through and load it. So it seems that they have some kind of, a schedule going on.
I guess I'd be more appreciative if they were here to tell us in person.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's a warning we should give them, Eric, just FYI. I mean,
Yeah.
He was here.
that was
then.
the agreement.
Well, I can tell you the neighbor to the right talked to me today and expressed great appreciation toward the town, the board, the council, the mayor, and everyone, because that's been a thorn in his side ever since I've been here and going back however long. So the fact that the neighbor is going to be able to replace the fence, as you can see, the fence in there on the side is damaged. Yeah, they're thrilled to see that something's finally happening with the Barbie property, and they couldn't be happier. So at least we have one resident in the area who, has been impacted positively with this.
How long has he lived next to them?
I'm gonna guess going on about 10 years. So yeah.
Incredible. Okay.
And you feel that their debris removal process is better than having them put a dumpster? That would be.
Well, with the scope of the work, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean-
noticed also you don't want, yeah.
Well, because they have the demo permit open, I'm sure once they do the remodel, then it'll probably make more sense to bring in a small dumpster. But I mean, I told you, it was 3 dumpster trucks full of, I don't even know what some of the
Stuff.
stuff was.
Well, I just hate to see the neighbors continue to suffer with,
Uh,
it's gonna be hard enough with a construction site,
Yeah.
never mind, and
But
unsightly.
believe it or not, the neighbor is ecstatic because when I stopped and talked to him, I was expecting maybe the construction noise was going to bother him. Both neighbors on the left side and to the right, they are thrilled to see this happen. They've been waiting for this to happen for well over a decade. So believe it or not, on that street, the entire street is happy and looking forward to what's going on.
I'm just surprised that, I guess not have the dump truck when they take that out and put it straight into a dump truck and keep going. I don't get me wrong, but are they there? Is it mold or whatever? Or I'm just saying, if they were
It's-
hoarders and
It's
it was there
whatever
for
was
years,
inside the home. I mean, I'm sure there was stuff that was rotting in there for a long time because when I see the people going in there, they're almost wearing full hazmat suits.
Mhm.
They have
Imagine.
respirators on, they have goggles on, they have the full suits on. The first couple times I saw people, they had the booties on with the gloves secured. So I mean, there's obviously stuff in there that they don't want to be exposed to.
I agree, but now they're coming outside. Now they're bringing what's inside, now putting it outside in a pile, and they're wearing hazmat stuff. So am I wrong in how I'm thinking, or should it just been put straight into a truck and get it out of here?
Should be removed daily, I would think.
So I mean, this,
I've been in construction before, and I mean, it sounds to me you got a guy driving the dump truck, and you got guys tearing the stuff out. I'm assuming if you went by there this afternoon, the dump truck filled up and left. The other guys kept loading stuff, taking stuff out. Inside, it's going to be dusty. So that's with the hazmat and the breathing stuff. You know, once it's outside, unless it's asbestos, and if that's the case, then that's a whole nother thing.
yeah, mold, whatever. I don't know. Because
But once it's outside, it's not going to hurt. You know, it's safe. That's just what I would suppose on this job. I would think you got a guy that drives the truck. He comes and fills up and leaves. His last load, he filled up at 2:00 because he's got to go to the dump to dump it. So the guys who were cleaning out worked for another 2 hours.
Right.
You know, so he'll probably be there in the morning, fill up the truck, go to the dump. There'll be another pile out there at 10:30 that'll get picked up at 12. You know, it's just, you know, we got to. I see this as a win-win for everybody involved in the whole equation, and I
Yeah.
think it would be the position of the town to make this as smooth as possible for them, because all the neighbors are going to benefit. Plus, you know, here's something that's been an eyesore for 10 years.
No, I know. It would have been nice that they would have been here because
Yeah.
that was the agreement.
Yeah,
Bottom
they're
line,
supposed to have done that.
if I was the one and I made it, told the town, I came in person, I said, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not that we don't want to do things, but I just want to, I think next it's like, hey, can't miss any more meetings.
Mhm.
That's it, right? You guys,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they agreed to.
yeah, that's all,
Yeah.
got to honor your word. And,
Yeah.
and I think they're taking, oh, we're doing everybody a favor. We don't have, it's kind of like that laissez-faire. It's like, no, can you miss a court date? Well, this is semi, right? So we got a lawyer here. I just think that it needs to be stressed that they need to be here or, they may not like the results of it. I mean, we are appreciative, but you don't miss a court date, right? Why are they missing this date?
Eric, you have the engineers information, the fellow that usually comes representing the property.
Yeah, you
Maybe you could give him a call and tell him we asked to make sure he's here the
Yeah,
next.
during before next month's meeting, I'll reach out to them. I'll send a text. I'll give them a call, and if they have an email, we'll send it. I'll make every effort, on the code enforcement side to stress the importance of them coming in. It'll be up to them whether or not they do or do not.
Great, thank you.
Have you gotten any subcontractors for this job that registered? Because it says that some of the subcontractors were in the process of registering. Just wondering if, oh, they have? Okay. Oh, electrical, okay.
Anybody
You
have,
can't issue those until you have the remodel permit, right?
No, they're issued already under the demo.
Under the demo. So is their scope of work only the demo?
Oh, I don't know what information's there, but that's what the building official requested.
Okay.
I would imagine they're still taking stuff out of there, so they can't do anything until, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I'm assuming, right, Eric? I don't know. You can't see, you haven't gone, I'm sure you don't want to go in there.
No, I've seen one working on the inside, but again, there's the only power in there is when they set up the lighting and everything. So I can see that there's stuff going on. I just can't ascertain what it is. I'm sure the building official's probably gone out there, maybe taken a peek, but I don't think he's probably gone inside unless he's wearing a respirator and everything.
wasn't there a problem with roof integrity on this? You remember?
Well, it was for the fascia.
Oh.
For which you can see the new wood on there because the fascia was completely rotten, fallen off. That's where animals were getting into the home from before all the windows and everything was open.
I was thinking if there was, then they probably would be getting a new roof before long.
I mean, we'll see what happens with the remodel. It probably could use a new roof, but
Yeah,
that's
he
not-
said in the beginning, he was going to replace the roof.
I would think so, but that'll be for the building official to determine.
I would think if you're doing all those improvements, you'd do the roof first. Yeah, now, again, they got to be here. These are questions, so we appreciate that, but we expected them to be here.
Mhm.
So, and I think I mean, there's garbage, but I don't know, maybe they're running the truck once a week. I don't know how often.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I can only tell you that I've seen it being picked up before.
Anybody have anything else on this?
Eric, have they came into compliance with any of the violations that they?
No, I mean,
None
even the
of
work
them
they've
at all?
done on the fascia, that's not fully complete.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, so I guess all the new cases are in compliance. That would bring us to board comments, suggestions, and updates. Anybody for Emily or
I'll actually go. if you don't
Julie or
mind.
Eric?
Yep, I actually will go if you guys don't mind. Oh, unless Mayor, do you want to? Okay. All right.
Thanks for coming. Sorry we didn't have any work for you.
Yeah. Just want to let you know, over the last month, 42 citations have been issued for law and order. There were 2 citations for repeat, so we did get our first 2 fines that went out and were paid. Currently, the citation form is being revamped, so once the citation form gets revamped, you'll probably start seeing some of this go before the board, but I just want to let you guys know that, yes.
This form?
Yes, Paul. What was that? Yes, Operation Law and Order. So was it over the past month, I've seen an uptick on more people putting piles out on Pine Tree. The ones that you saw on Westlake, I can confirm because Yuli was kind enough to send me emails over the past week or two. Waste Management did miss a couple pickups. Residents who had been cited before, they reached out to the town. They also reached out to me to let me know. So we are getting feedback from the residents. I was seeing an uptick on Pine Tree, so we did a lot of heavy enforcement on Pine Tree. Got a lot more calls coming in, so it seems like people are beginning to understand. We have a couple residents that don't seem to want to comply. So once the new citation form is in effect, just expect that you probably will have some of these come before the board.
So there's really 2 different issues. One is having it out early, and the other is having it out in the street. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're
Or is
not
that,
really.
or is that the same ordinance?
It's under two sections. Because
Okay.
one is saying for putting it out too early, and one is for placing it in the road. We're not really running too much into people putting in the road. We did have a couple that I cited because the pile was so big that it was bleeding onto the street. Most of them are, well, 99% of them are because people are putting it out way too early.
Because there was a pretty good sized one on Gregory last week.
It was cited. Actually, Gregory, give me 1 second.
And that house has done, that property's done that before where there's nothing in the yard. It's all out in the street. And I'm assuming that's a landscaper doing that.
Yeah, no, they were cited, and yeah, once the new citation form goes into effect and they do it again, that could turn into a $125 fine.
Is there any properties that have been, have a second violation?
Yeah, so like I said, there were 2 that were issued.
Two? Okay.
Yeah. But again, the citation form, Bill and Charlie are currently reviewing the citation form just to make sure everything is up to date on it. And once they confirm it, and once that goes on to MGO, then new repeat violators will be issued. And remember, the first offense, aside from the warning, is a $125 fine, and then it jumps from there.
And did you say that the 2 that had a second violation have paid?
Yes, they did. They came in. One came in with no issue paying it. The other one was a little more begrudging, but still came and paid.
So have you issued any permits in the last, I don't know how many, I don't care. but-
Citations?
Yeah, or citations. Or have you not issued citations, put it that way, because you don't have the up-to-date form?
No, I can still issue as many warnings as I want, and I'm keeping tracks of everything. It's just until the citation form is updated, we just don't feel that we can issue the fine.
Right, but let's say I put my stuff out there, or whoever puts my stuff out there on Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
like, today. Could I get a citation for doing that?
Yes, you could definitely get a warning, and if it happens again, I still notate it.
I know that, but it sounded to me like you were kind of holding on the citations of the warnings until you get the,
No,
citation.
not the warnings, the citation fine. Everyone can still get a warning, because a warning is a warning. When it comes to being issued a payable fine, that's where the town attorney and that's where Bill are looking into the form, just to make sure, all the i's are dotted, all the t's are crossed. That's all it is. It's just, revamping the form if anything needs to be revamped.
So they'll just get as many warnings as they need to until you get the form.
Yeah, and it's not going to take that much longer. And honestly, we haven't had too many. There's one property I am keeping an eye on, just because they are being a little defiant and don't really want to do anything. So that one I'm constantly monitoring. Once the new form or the form gets revamped, that's probably going to be the one that's going to come in for not just 2, but probably 3, 4, maybe even more.
so do you citation them in this period? Say I've gotten a warning and I've gotten a citation and you're revamping the citation, so then I get another warning or another violation. Are you keeping track of the buildup? I may have 5 by the time, Bill gets his,
Yeah, but we're not retroactively going back and then finding people for that. It's being notated, showing patterns.
okay. I think this is great. I'm just curious, do we have one? I mean, have you guys also handing it out to the landscapers, make them aware that, hey, this is telling that they talk to their clients?
I've talked to over 15 to 20 landscapers. Some are receptive and are changing their ways. Some play the language barrier, which they don't realize that I can contact our police admin who speaks Spanish, and they get a little caught off guard with that. And then we have some that, just kind of blow me off, which, that's all right. However, the atmosphere of the town is changing, and residents are telling me that they are changing their landscapers, and I've seen it, because I see most of the landscapers and their companies on a daily basis, and I'm seeing which ones are getting more business and which ones are actually no longer operating in town. So some of our biggest violators who are doing it from, the landscaper side, I don't see much business from them anymore. Doesn't mean that there are still other ones, but some of the biggest ones that were causing issues, seems like people just aren't hiring them now. So I think the message is really getting out there.
Okay. No, I'm glad it said you guys approached them, so that's good too.
And a lot of feedback from the community too. I have residents who call me and say, hey, I had a missed pickup, please don't cite me. And also, that's letting me gain knowledge too, to know when people are getting missed pickups. Because if I get 2, 3, 4 calls or town hall does, we know that there's an issue with waste management. So now waste management's also being held a little more accountable.
Mhm.
So I think this has, what do you call it? Positive side effects that we weren't expecting.
I have a question for you, Eric. Who do we consider responsible for areas out by the road of a property that's deteriorated with no grass in it? Because lawn waste has been there historically so long that it's barren,
Hmm.
or in some cases, a foot deep. Who are we asking to take care of that, to fix that? Is that the town's responsibility, the property owner,
Are we talking about the swale?
the swale?
Well, the swale is owned by the town, but it's a responsibility of the property owner to maintain that area. Now, they can lay down other materials if they don't want to lay down grass, like the church down the road here on Barbados. They lay down a small form of gravel, which is authorized. Some people have laid down mulch, not to fill a hole, but to make a small pathway. So there are alternatives. But yes, if there's a dead spot in the lawn that's constant, there is a violation for bare and unsodded areas.
And are you asking people to fix that? If there's a
Yeah,
problem?
I've cited people for it before, for sure. The main issue is the ones where they've been putting the lawn waste there for so long. The main thing I'm trying to address is getting them to, one, put it out on the proper day, and two, once that's done and they understand, then we can address it. Trying to get the main root problem first.
Right. There's one over there on Westlake.
Mhm.
It's deep and the road has actually been damaged along the edge of the road
Mhm.
because I guess the claw has to
Yeah.
go so deep he's knocked off part of the edge of the road.
Yeah, it's starting to chip the sides a little bit. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I can run it by the public works department to see, because I know on a separate road there was an issue where there were holes, and the town actually went out there and filled them in. It wasn't someone's direct property, but it was property that was supposed to be maintained by the town on Cambodiana. So holes were filled in that were deeper. So yeah, I mean, it can be addressed through.
I'm sorry,
That's
those holes that you're talking about, some of the neighbors that were complaining about them think that the town has made it a dumping area
No,
because they
that,
put gravel down.
yeah, no, that's not correct. What happened was there was a complaint that came in about it, because when Law and Order was first initiated, I put a bunch of the Law and Order signs there. So these particular residents wanted to make an issue out of it, and then when the residents stopped, piling all the stuff up there as much, then the issue became the holes. Once the holes were addressed, they still weren't happy. So that's where we run into this. So there was a big hole, probably 2 to 3 feet, deep. I don't know how wide it was, but the Public Works Department went out there and filled it and alleviated any safety concerns.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question.
Shoot.
The boat ramp
Yes.
across Westlake,
Hmm.
the two houses there,
Barbados and Westlake.
mhm.
Yes.
Are those designated trailer parking areas?
Yes. We had an issue where if you are facing Barbados and if you're looking to the west, the house on the right put up concrete triangles, which is not allowed. I spoke to the resident, explained to them that they can't do it. Those were removed. But yes, when vehicles go there, put their boat in the water, they have the right to park on either side. Just so happens that when a vehicle dumps or puts their boat in the water and is leaving, they almost never choose the house on the left, because direction of travel, they're
Right.
going to choose the right side.
Right. I didn't know that they were actually designated areas. That's why I said it, and people put triangles in other areas of town, but they're not allowed to put it there, I guess.
That's unfortunate, a high traffic area. We only have one boat ramp and people use it frequently. So yes, because again, swales are owned by the town, but are required to be maintained by the property owner. So, and I spoke to the property owner and, you know, she made good points that, you know, people are constantly parking there. She's required to resod and do everything. Why should she have to do it? It's
Well,
just-
I would think that in that case, the town should take care of that property.
That's something that we can definitely discuss with the town manager and the public works.
I mean, if
Public
you're
Works
gonna
Director.
allow trailers to park there, I mean, if it was my property, I damn sure wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I wouldn't want the trailers there, but if they're allowed to park there, I certainly wouldn't want to have to take care of the property.
That's a good point. What do you think, Mayor?
Mhm.
I didn't realize. I mean, I always saw it there. I always felt sorry for that property owner having trailers there, but if that's considered public parking,
Tech, they're just unfortunately in the most high traffic area of the town, which doesn't mean it's fair, doesn't mean it's not fair, but you know, someone who lives 13 houses down is in a little more of a corner. They would never have an issue with someone trying to park on their swale because there wouldn't be a need.
and then of course, town couldn't build something nice or whatever to park trailers because why keep replacing sod? That's only going to be,
That's something that has to be discussed with the town. If you're talking about paving it, remember it's owned by the town, but well, Bill, can you know, you have more knowledge on this. Like the town does own it, but the property owner is required to maintain it, but there is kind of a joint ownership.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the area, but if the town owns it,
Well,
I mean, town owns the swales.
it's the swale.
Part of the right of way.
Property owner is paying the taxes for that
Right.
property out to property line.
Mhm.
If that's leaves a 5-foot easement or something like that along the roadway.
Well, usually the code will say that the property owner has to maintain up to the pavement, right? As far as the swale area.
Yeah.
But, you know, I understand the situation with this one. If it's being used, you know, as part of the town's boat ramp, you know, it's sort of unfair to have that person have to maintain it.
We probably have the same scenario closer to Forest Hill where anyone wants to utilize one of the parks. They usually park in the swale somewhere, don't they?
Well,
Yeah, that's correct.
we just took out the grass area and the boat ramp area for that reason, right? It's all paved. It's all
Mhm.
looks nice. It was the right thing to do. Then I would think we should maybe think about or talking with that homeowner or but something similar maybe. I don't know. Well, obviously we want to beautify the city, but
Yeah.
I know if I was the owner, I would not be happy.
Well, it'd probably be the least expensive just for the town to manage it.
But then you have to think of things like drainage and flooding and that kind of thing.
That's-
Leaving
like-
grass or sod is better for that than a paved area.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's the best route is we talk to the public works director, talk to town manager, you know, come up with a plan. And then at some point, obviously we would, or the town would discuss it with the property owner, but you know, I can't really play hypotheticals.
Nor do we expect you. Anybody have anything else? Are we ready to retire already?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
Any
Second, third,
opposition?
fourth.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight.